And we're back with our part 2 of our Commander Legends. We did white last time, now we've moved on to the blue. And we're just, we're working away getting it into the binder.
Right. 65, 66. Deranged Assistant. How many we need? Blank and a blue, human wizard, tap him to mill a card and add a blank mana. I think 2 should be plenty. I'm not a huge blue player. I've got a Demir, which is blue and black, a zombie deck, which is just zombie buff and zombie generation. There isn't a whole lot of control. The blue is...
The blue's all for me.
Yeah. Your Reap the Tide, your modified Reap the Tides deck. Actually, it's a partial lie, because I started gathering up cards for a white and blue spirit deck.
That is true. That's true.
So far I haven't even decided on a commander, it just has a bunch of random spirits and angels and a stack with some enchantments, but we'll get there. I've been focusing a lot more on this and getting stuff put up for the store than making my own decks.
Maybe if you want to leave a comment with what might go good in that deck, maybe they can give you some ideas.
Yeah, if you've got staples for a blue and white, mostly spirits, doesn't need to be tribal, but that's what I'm going for. I'm trying to get knights, spirits, and a knight theme. Mostly because we do play casual, so generally we don't... It doesn't need to be meta heavy. It doesn't need to be the best and the greatest of everything.
You're open to trying multiple different types of cards.
Yeah.
Till you get something that works.
If you have a cool combo, then sure, all yours. I know... What's blue and white? Azorius? That's the guild colors, isn't it? I know Azorius is mostly for control, but...
So have you found anything good?
We talked about a deranged assistant. Let's put away a forceful denial. The cascade, but I can't see it coming in all that helpful. When you cast a spell, exile cards from the top of your library. Until you exile a non-kill land, you may cast it for free. But it's a 5-cost instant. Most people aren't sitting on 5 mana on their own turn, or at least I wouldn't be, so it's not as useful to my playstyle. Ghost of Ramirez de Petro, the Blue Spirit Pirate. Can be blocked by creatures with toughness 3 or greater. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, choose up to 1 card that was discarded or put there from a library this turn. Put the card into his owner's hand, and it has partner. I can't see that. I don't want this help. We'll send 2 to the store and I'll keep 1. Horizon Scholar. I know we've got... I think there is a stack of them in Theros. Theros had a Horizon Scholar too. This one seems to have a little... just a very little dinghy at the top there. So we'll stick that one in the binder and we'll send the pristine one to the store. And 72 is the end of the page for the 73.
Now, are you finding a lot of cards that are strictly from the Commander Legends, or is there a lot of repeats?
As in, like, reprints with the same art?
Reprints from other
I'm fairly certain Gale Strike was in Amoket. Deranged Assistant sounds familiar as well. It, I can't recall what set it's from. I think Shadows over Innistrad, maybe. Maybe. I don't know a lot of the older sets off the top. I know what the symbol is, and I know what that means, but I can't always remember the actual. Kite Sail Corsair. It's flying as long as it's attacking, and it's only a 2/1. Doesn't sound too important. In with what I'm doing, well, we've got a foil, so we'll keep one foil and a normal one, and the 4 can go to the store. Thankfully now Jess is off to the side sorting the next color into order, so that's why my stack of blue right here, I can just work my way down and sort out the gaps in the list, but I don't have to stop and shuffle back and forth. It's a big help. In the past, when we just started our eBay store, we each had separate areas we were responsible for, and now we're trying this whole working more together, where we
working together as a team.
Well, it's different when you're sitting on opposite ends of the room, both working on one's sorting, one's posting ads, or one's. If you're both working on the exact same thing, it makes a big difference. I think, at least. Laboratory Drudge. Zombie horror. I do like zombies and I do like horrors.
Put your hands together.
I once had this misguided idea to do a blue and black horror deck, because I wanted to have it like a sea monstery Cthulhu type thing, and then it all just devolved into serpents, krakens, and leviathans, which Jessica's Reap the Tithe deck does just well, so I ended up basically needing half of the same creatures she had, so we shelved the idea. Toxrill sounds like fun, but Toxrill's deck is very expensive, so I'd have to make an extreme budget. 80, 81. I have to make an extreme budget version of Toxrill, which I doubt would work as well as we expect. Hypnotic Deluge.
What's that one do?
Sorcery, 6 blank and 3 blue. It's a nice hefty price. Exile target instant or sorcery from any graveyard, copy it 3 times, and cast them for free, and then exile Hypnotic Deluge. It sounds very cool, but I think it would be very hard to get off, especially if there's another blue player on the table that just sacks your stuff. Omen Speakers. Enters the battlefield, scry 2 for a small little blocker. I'm not going to talk about the artwork. I'll let you guys figure out why it's such a popular card. I mean, it's a pretty good card, especially in blue control decks, or blue library management decks, we'll call them. We've encountered several times in the play group that usually you lack bodies. You can't sit there for 7, 8, 9 turns without having some kind of blockers, and Omen Speaker would be a perfect little blocker for it. Nice, cheap, small creature to hold off everybody else while you try to find the 3 cards in your deck that win you the game. Prosperous Pirates. I don't think we need 7 copies of that.
We're very prosperous.
When it enters the battlefield, create 2 treasure tokens, even with bounces and flickers for 5 mana. Doesn't seem like it's worth keeping that many. Put 5 to the store and 2 in the binder. Prying Eyes, 86. Draw 4 cards and discard 2 for 6 mana. 2 is dandy. Run away together. Oh, what a beautiful little art style. Looks like some vat-grown zombie and a little human. I like it when they do cute art. Especially if it's on a cute card like this. Because this is not Warhammer, so there is still some hope, and there is more than just war in between the stars.
Green or red?
Red's next. Scholar of the Stars, that definitely exists in a different set. Mostly because I've seen a stack of 14 of them at one point. It's just some cards at the store where we just 15, 16 copies of them sitting around. You don't always need that many of them. That's a weird one. There's that white dot right above Scholar. It looks like a drop of paint or something. It's not on the other two, so it's not part of some weird art.
It's trash then.
Looks like there's a tiny little drop of paint right above the CH for Scholar. It's too bad because the borders are in pretty good shape, but aside she goes. $89, $90, $91, $92. Hey, almost put it on the wrong page again. Scholar of the Ages. When it enters the battlefield, return 2 instances and sorceries from your graveyard to your hand. Not bad, but pretty steep for 7 mana. 1 in the binder and 1 to the store. I'm sure somebody's got some fancy spell slinger deck that they can make much better use out of it than sitting in my binder. And that's the beautiful part about Magic the Gathering. Some people, that Scholar of the Ages might be fantastic, and for me it doesn't fit my playstyle at all. And somehow I'm convinced their deck would work more efficiently than mine, but if you find the style you like, why deviate? I'm already happy that I've got every color at least in all of my decks now, because the zombies were out of circulation for quite a while because the deck was far too slow, and until I built that Atali deck, I didn't have any red in anything. Blue-white, mono-black, green and black. I really mean green and black deck. It's headed by Marin of Clan Nel Toth. She's the commander with XP counters on it. '96 is only one of those. Goliath Scab, another zombie giant. Gray and brass bound little thing. Pretty expensive. As an additional cost to cast, exile 2 creature cards from your graveyard and trample, but it's a 6/9 for 6 mana. Pretty steep. 2 to the side. Skilled Animator. 98. 9. 100. Spontaneous Mutation. Ooh, this is a nice little finisher. 1 blue, an enchantment aura, flash, enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets... Oh, this isn't a finisher. It's minus, not plus. Enchanted creature gets -X, where X is the number of cards in your graveyard. So somebody's swinging it with something that's not a giant Kakator, and you can at least dodge a punch. Which, for all of you who share my view, the first time I saw the giant Kakator was coming out, as my familiarity with Final Fantasy is not as big as other people's. When I saw it, I was like, that must be one of those joke cards that people make at home, but here we are and here it is. My brother-in-law even bought me one because I laughed about it so hard when I saw it for the first time, and he really likes Final Fantasy. And that was right before I showed him that I made my red and green Atali deck. So he gave me the fancier art version of the giant Kakator. And then later that evening, he was sitting across the table when it hit the board with Trample, which already has, but Haste as well, and then suddenly the game ended. And he asked for his copy back with a big smile on his face.
Did he really? Ask for it back?
Yeah, he said, "You know what? I don't think I want you. I don't think I trust you keeping that."
What a sweetheart.
Yeah. Usually, if it does come up a little too soon, I'll keep it in my hand for a couple of turns, but especially because the dinosaur deck has a lot of ways to give haste. Two older red cards. One is, I think, just called Rage, and it's an enchant creature. It gains haste, but at the end of the turn, it bounces itself back to your hand. Some older cards were really good for giving out haste or fly or trample and having a way of recycling themselves because, well, obviously back then, when they were starting out, they didn't have as many variations of everything yet. So there's quite a few older red creature enchantments that are I quite enjoy, mostly because they bounce themselves back, so you can keep reusing them. Resets. And that's it for blue already.
What are you thinking? How'd you do on blue?
I think we did pretty good on blue, actually. Let's have a peek back here. Couple missing. One, couple, one. Did better with blue than we did with white.
Anything stand out?
No, surprisingly, because Commander Legends is, lately at least, where I've been finding a lot of the heavier cards, but I must be finding the ones that came out of actual decks. Okay. To be fair, we did white and blue, and Soul of Eternity I have in something. And the rest are all smaller potatoes, as it were.
Okay, well that's blue, or that wraps up blue in this part. So like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you again for the green. Okay, I may have lied. It might have been black. So we'll see you
black to me.
for black.